Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 423rd Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, March 10th, 2022. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department and part of the public teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond, and I'll be host today, once again, in these weekly teaching series. And once again, we have the pleasure to be joined by Mr. Mehran Keshe of the Keshe Foundation, who will be presenting today's workshop. So hello, Mr. Keshe, how are you today?
Good morning, good day to you. As usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of Knowledge Seekers from the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute programs of teaching. Today is another day where we add to the knowledge and we try to realize and find out more in how things progress, how we come to be what we are, what is the pattern of the creation, what dictates life, and how can we replicate life? What is the secret of existence? And where to and where do we look for the pattern of life? Is it conditioned to the man, to the life of the man? Or is it conditioned to the whole operation of the universe? Haven't we up to now looked at two separate systems, or we never understood one system in another? Have we come to, in a way, become more materialistic and just look at what we see and what we touch? And we understood part of it, but we never understood this is the pattern of creation. The whole subject and teaching of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute is a ship which is in space. In the olden days, you called it the boat of Noah, collecting of every animal to travel and then to land in a place, the perfect example of every animal in pairs, that life can continue. But in fact, isn't that boat or the ship of Noah the spaceship which man is trying to create today? To take the best examples, the perfect examples of the creation on this planet to the other destination. In a way, when you land with the citizens of Earth on another planet, you land from the boat of Noah. Which means we have come with the knowledge that we can travel the space of the universe. We come from the point where we know how to handle ourselves to be part of the process of the creation, to be within the process of creation. We have talked about this in the past. We have tried to elaborate on this topic in different ways and directly in the past. How do we create life? How do we sustain life? Be it a cell in the body of the man, the life of man on this planet, or the life of a galaxy or a solar system. As we never had the knowledge, we never looked at it. But in essence, this process of the creation is the same. The process of the life is the same. In the body of the man, when you look at the structure of a kidney in a specific position and condition, we see three layers. We look at the intestine, the wall of the intestine, we see three layers. We look at the body of the man, the skin of the man has three layers. Then the bigger size, in a bigger dimension, the solar system has again three layers. A galaxy has three layers. And we always looked at what we saw as it is, and we elaborated on it. Because when you become a cell on your own, when you become the body of the man on its own, You need a layer to protect you from outside fields that it doesn't interact with what you create inside. Then you create an intermediary section where allows the fields which are accepted by the inner side and outer side to leak out or to be absorbed, to be within the position and the place that becomes the connection point, interface between the out and in. And then you have the inner part, which means I work with what the energies are within the structure. I don't let the blood to go out. I keep the veins in, I keep the muscles in. And then we see this pattern repeats again. We have the same thing. We have the same structure in the solar system. When the knowledge of the man becomes extended, that he can understand the operation of the solar system, as I have explained in the book number 4 about the creation of solar system, we see the same 3 layers. Us as planetary system, us as a sun, us as part of what we see is in the inner shell. It's within the inner part, inner skin. So when we want to travel beyond the dimensions of the solar system, we need to understand the intermediary phase, and then we have to understand the outer phase, the strength fields that stops the cosmic rays of the different orders to penetrate to the middle, to come inside, and the same side keeps everything in. Now, if you understand this, we come to the point to understand further, how do we create this? What is the condition? What is the need? How can we have a 3-layer in the intestine of the man, and we have a 3 layers on the skin of the man, or within the kidney of the man, or within the solar system? Who decides it? What condition brings that position of deciding what the strength to be? Can we put the 3-layer strength of the skin of the man on the kidney? Or can we create the strength of the fields of the 3 layers of the solar system within the skin of the man? It doesn't fit. Horses for courses. And then the environment decides what are the skin going to be and what is the purpose of it in respect to the others as they interact with each other. When the body of the man was created, it wasn't just, oh, we make a stomach and that's it. And then, oh, we need a liver. Oh, we need something to store what goes through it. So you had to eat continuously because you had nowhere to store. Then it came to innovation of the fat, or changing the fields that the inner system can absorb. We call it lymph system. Or was it all created according to the process of the creation, that everything needed and one part could bring the other part together? In the world of science today, in the world of medicine, we say the blood comes through the kidney and the kidney filters and cleans up and then it sends what is not needed. Isn't the fact upside down? Isn't the reality from what we've seen today, and we understand more about the creation and the process of life? Kidney gets most of the energy which it does not needed by the body through the lymph, through its body inside. Blood supplies part of it, not all of it. We have accepted some dogmas about the process of life that we have got stuck with it. Why is the position of the kidneys in such a place in the body of the man? Why the liver always position itself near the intestines or nearby? Why doesn't the liver appears in the outer extremities of the body of the man, where your reproduction services are, or where your hip is? Why the 3 layers of the liver works in a way of the 3 absorption systems of the totality of what comes. The present world of medicine tells us, or the present knowledge of biology tells us, that the surplus materials are stored by the blood in the liver of the man. Yes, 20% of what goes in the liver. The liver sits on top of the stomach, top of the intestine, and absorbs directly the energy transfers and converts them into the energy matter state of what is needed inside. Once the world of science understands this, you will come to understand you can take any energy as long as it has a heartbeat and it has a what we call intellect. This entity and intellect can be created in a physical dimension anywhere in the universe. We call this center point the soul of the man. So when we send the soul of the man, we transmute the soul from Earth to Moon, to Mars, to Jupiter. It will not look like a man the way with 2 legs and 2 arms, unless we put it in a monkey suit as the NASA does and we lock him in, that's the way we want to keep it. Then we'll see man will transform himself according to the condition and can live everlasting life. We say in the beautiful poetry of Farsi, means if you don't want to stand out, become part of it. Then you won't be noticed. With the body of the man, now you see Americans landed and we see a hopping man. Would we, when we go onto Moon and Mars, will hop like a man? The scientific data and traveling the span of the universe tells me no. Man will not look like a man as we see on the planet Earth. Man will look the way the soul of the man can exist in a dimension of physicality, what the environment of the moon allows it to be. Otherwise, you're like on a life support machine, the monkey suit. To transit and transform and to transmute between one and the other, it becomes the trust of the man in his own existence. What happened when you get to the moon and you decide you want to go to the Mars? Would the intellect of the human race and other races will reach to the point that by the school of thoughts, by the elevation of the understanding the emotion of the soul, you can decide the destination. You become aware of the existence and the dimension of the life in other positions and dimensions. Isn't this what the sperm and egg does in the womb of the mother? And according to energy absorbed, the tap hole becomes child. According to the fields which the mother has created within the womb. Doesn't this go back to what we call it DNA and RNA, and they want to confirm it, but isn't that energy seed, the egg and the sperm which they make the soul of the man, then becomes that cup with the orange outside? Isn't the orange the beauty of the existence of the mother? And the cup is the sperm and the egg which have created the new dimension of existence within the womb of the mother. If mankind understands this, and this is the reason all this knowledge in a simpler way has been transformed and transferred to the knowledge of the man and the rest of the creation in the universe, understand this, then we come to understand if that soul, that energy field which is created, can replicate the structure of the physicality of the gans of the mother, wouldn't that soul do the same, replicate the soul of the creator within it? where the creator becomes that orange, and the rest of the creation become different cups across the universe that blows the wind, the soul of the creator within it. So the soul of the man is pure. That's the soul of the creator. It's the condition of the environment of the physicality, which makes to have arms and legs and feet and be jelly or whatever. And then to live, you decide what you absorb. And in the case of human race, to kill and to destroy, to add to the what we call feel the strength of the life of. We accept one, but we do not extend the knowledge to accept the totality. And this is what I always said, man accepts my knowledge according to his intellect, according to his own understanding and acceptance of the totality of the creation. When you create that soul, when you transfer that soul from the earth to the moon, now it has to create 3 layers with itself that it can exist. How thin that the skin is going to be, how thick that is going to be, what kind of pressure is going to accept dictates the shape that you manifest yourself at that point. But in essence, you still have within you the field replication of the soul of the creator within the soul of the man. I made man in the image of myself. Now you have an orange. You still get the taste, the flavor, the beauty of the whole earth. Now we understand. Now we comprehend. Now we come to be part of the totality. We've been part of the creator. We've been part of the creation. We've been part of the process of the existence. And that 3 layer is where the soul of the man can create the dimension of existence, hold on to the dimension of the soul as it is within the soul of the creator. The intermediary that he can receive and give. And what I cannot handle, I'll put a jacket on, I'll call it the ultimate, where you can hold and make it water resistance, I make it field resistance to the field of the universe. When we wear the skin of the man, we just say, oh, the water runs off the skin. But in a coming time when the scientists look, how much fields of this solar system, this planet, that our body doesn't want to absorb, and we see it repelling. And how much of it gets absorbed within, because the body of man calls upon for it to exist. That cell in the liver of the man, that cell in the kidney of the man, does not receive the fields all it needs to exist from what man eats, but it needs it from different dimensions of the fields of the universe, because it's still filtering part of the universal energy within it, not just what you see as a liver content, as what you have come to realize to be. As the cell of the liver. In that cell of the liver is the fields of the radiation, the fields of the strength of the universe within it, which body of the man needs to hold on to. We say we hold vitamin C and vitamin D in the liver when we need it, we call it, the body calls upon it to be there, and it will deliver us. But there is an extension. If we accept that the body of the man takes 20% of the food and 80% from the environment, so liver has to have the same functionality to be able to take out that 80% after use, which the body of the man doesn't need in the dimension of the liver. Liver is not just for the physical dimension, it's for the extra fields of the universe which the body of the man needs. Now that we come to the space technology, we have to understand is that we can allow the life to appear at the time, position, space where it needs to be, where it has to be, that it can confirm the existence of the soul. In the coming time, what we give you, as we said before, as the enhancement unit flight system, would it have any physical dimension? Would it have any physical manifestation? Or we walk into the space given, we believe is the space where the system is, and through it we go through a transformation, and we connected the universal field of strength to be able to travel the span of the universe. As we said in the last teachings, where we changed the carbon connection fields of the carbon 12 to carbon 14, where we become from matter state in the universal field of strength, transmutation, and transportation. Then it comes to the point that if I create two layers, then the soul of the man will become the third part. Then the soul of the man will become a dimension of the existence of the totality of the energies which is needed for transportation to the point and the destination of the field strength of the soul of the man through the emotion of the soul, and not through the emotion of the soul of physicality, in the dimension of understanding the totality of the existence in the universe. When you travel from Earth to planet Zeus, dimensions of strength are different, and the brain of the man cannot exist. The amino acid becomes transparent, it becomes dissolved, it becomes non-existence. Where are you going to find the emotion? Except if you understood, it's the emotion of the soul that then decides the position, time, and the place. And the soul of the man has the knowledge of the universe within it, as is that water, which receives its beauty from the orange. That orange is the knowledge of the Creator, which knows all, as He has created all. As then man understands there is no for intermediary, I go to the Pope and ask, how do I use my soul? Which strength do I need to go to planet Zeus? As the Pope himself has no idea of the existence of the planet Zeus. How can you ask a blind man to tell you the beauty of the light? How, in the process of the present religions, you want to understand the upcoming the knowledge of the man in the extension of existence, unless the man itself becomes knowledgeable to the totality of the knowledge through the soul and creation of his soul, and understanding is the image, is that water in the cup which receives the knowledge and totality from the Creator. In a way, in the new enhancement units which we use for travel, we create that two layers to allow the soul of the man to expand beyond the boundaries. Now, the boundary is the field of the containment and not the skin of the man. In a way, we put you through a condition that you go through the sleep. You go through the condition that you allow by reducing, changing the strength of the field of the soul of physicality, and the blood flow allows your soul to expand beyond its physicality and go see the uncle, the cousin, and the next door neighbor, and go to the planetary system it's never been according to your understanding of the images you remember when you wake up. As I said in other teachings, we allow by creation of the double layers, we make that transition and transformation for you. All it is to allow the soul to go beyond the expansion of the skin of the man. And then, do I need to transmute and transport the physicality of the man, where every cell has a soul, and in essence, is again that water in that cup, and the soul of the man is the orange in that essence. Now you understand the process of the development of the new enhancement units. We done nothing more except replicating, understanding, and digesting and processing the knowledge of the creation that we understand up to now. But this is not the end. This is just the beginning of what the knowledge of the man is going to learn and understand in the upcoming time, that the what we call cycle of life in the dimension of physicality and energy fields of the body of the man become the essence, the source, the beginning of allowing what is kept as a soul within it to open up, to become the most beautiful flower in the world of the creation of the creator, become the center, the seed of another life, another planetary system, another sun. We understand the totality of the knowledge, but now we have to be able to replicate it, that we don't even need the enhancement units. We rely on the strength of the soul of the man to create that enhancement condition, that it allows the soul of the man to become part of the totality without the engagement of what we call the physicality, the brain and the soul of physicality of the man. We are not changing one prism with another. We are elevating the knowledge of the man, that the man can understand. He decides the containment without imprisonment. Then it comes to the point that as a human race, as other races which are within us and amongst us, and we are amongst them, to understand the essence of the creation in its totality, not in absurd singularity like the life of the man. Then it comes to ask one question: how does, where does, and in essence, who controls the cycle of the life of the souls and the soul of the universe and Unicos and the rest. In a way, in the original teaching, in the book 1, book 2, and book 3, we refer to this, but now you can understand, we set the seed of the understanding. Where we say, when a neutron splits, become a proton and electron. Like when you get a bottle of water and you put it in a big glass and a small glass, still within it is water. So shall be the soul of the man, irrespective of the size, dimension, and position. The soul of the creator to be the proton, and the soul of the man to be the electron. But in essence, all came from the same source of the creation. The process of creation and created needs understanding without condition, unconditional knowledge of the creation. Then man opens new doors. Then man opens a new dimension in the knowledge of the creation. I made man in the image of myself, not just by feature, but by the knowledge. And if mankind understands this, we will find soon that knowledge we carry is the knowledge of Creator within the structure of the soul of the man. Then, do we need delivery boys called prophets? Do we need servants of the delivery boys? Call it the Ayatollahs, the priests and rest, where they themselves are not aware what karam, what method of transportation they are using themselves. This is the time when the soul of the man becomes knowledgeable to the totality of the knowledge of the creation. It's the purity of understanding the totality which becomes the condition for elevation of the understanding. We create that present into how much we will understand the process of the creation, how we shall create ourselves, and how in time we'll be created out of. If the soul of the man is from the fields within the sperm and the egg that has led to creation of it, how many other times part of this soul has been part of another soul, part of another position and dimension in another part of the universe? Because it could not get here if it was directly the soul of the creator. He had to go through transformation. He had to go through transmutation. He had to go through the process of reduction and interaction to become the ray within the egg and the sperm that the interaction creates the strength of the soul of the man to be created. Then it comes one fundamental question for all of us. How close we want to be to the Creator, which means how much we want to understand the knowledge of the creation without dogmas and restriction of understanding in physical dimension. And every created thing, being a dog, the man, the cat, the ants, the stone, has the potential to understand the process of the creation. And it's not exclusively a man. And not just this planet, and not just this race. Then we understand we are part of what we think as a soul. Our soul is part of, it's a field of another soul, which leads to the creation of another dimension. We become that ray within the collection of the plasma of the creation. Then it comes for our knowledge seekers of the human race to understand what to use in creation of the systems and what we call reactors within the boundary of the what we call the enhancement unit for travel or health, that can reach that part, that can reach to understand that part, that has the ability to open the cage and let the soul of the man as a plasma of the universe to be released, that it chooses its own existence in the dimension of the creation. But would it, in becoming free, becoming away from the restriction of the physicality, receive more from the fields of the universe and the creator, that in the process of the transmutation to his new destination from the physicality inside the body of the man, it will absorb new fields from the field of the universe and the creator, that it becomes mature at a point of manifestation to a total perfect plasma, to start a total perfect life for what they'll create and what shall be created out of it. The new enhancement unit considers the whole of that structure, even is hidden within the structure. This is one of the most fundamental principles, as we had last week, was asked, what's the difference between the carbon 12 and carbon 14? Can I create carbon 14? Can I create the condition? Carbon 14 is transportation for the universal condition connection. Carbon 12 is for the matter state plasma, what we call the gas body of the man. Then you have to find a way that you go from carbon 12 to carbon 13, and then carbon 14, that carbon 14 becomes the outside travel, carbon 12 becomes the inside, and carbon 13 is the intermediate layer. When it doesn't work, when it finds problem in, as you see it on the skin of the man, you get the rash, you get the boil, you get the infection under between the layers, which means the body cannot accept the condition of transmutation to the transportation of inside or outside. then the purpose of the teaching becomes that in the enhancement units, our researchers, our developers, our scientists deliver direction and position of understanding the totality before you can endeavor to take the steps to make that journey, to go and walk into that system, and then find yourself within it. We say 6th of June will be the show of the flight, but do you expect to see the flight of the system, or do you expect to see the flight of the soul of the man in that system? A physical man looks to see if he jumps. The man of understanding sees if the soul is still within the system and interacts in the dimension of physicality. This is the process, what mankind needs to go through. This is the process of the knowledge that we have to go through, that within it, with it, because of it, we become knowledgeable of the life in the dimension of the universe. We have to be able to cross the condition and understanding the connection of the carbon-12 within the structure of the plasma of the amino acid of the man, which actually works in the dimension of carbon-13, to be able to change to the matter state or to change to the universal state. When that carbon-13 extension, what we call, exists in the dimension of the gas of plasma of the man, and you put it on the fire and you burn it, you get a physical ash, which is carbon-12. So for the first time, we understand the life of the man in the what we call dimension of physicality is the field of strength between the outer layer and the inner layer, and the body of the man in his existence is that boil, is that physicality which the two sides cannot go. Do we go towards the inner side, which becomes the creation and the creator? Or do we go to the outside to become part of another in a bigger structure of the stronger fields in the dimension of rejection? This is a knife which cuts from both sides of the knife. And the man is the knife. Which side you decide to go? Which side you come to understand, you choose to be part of. And then in that process, mankind becomes wise to the process of the understanding of the Creator, the creation, the way we enter the realm of the created, but not in the matter state of it, but in the dimension of the field strength of it. My job is to teach mankind to understand this process, and gradually we're reaching that point. Reaching the point that you don't look for transportation, transmutation of the physicality of the man, because we never knew man is a pack of energy as gases. That's why it's flexible. That's why it can move. That's why it can do everything else. Otherwise, the body of the man would have been as hard as a stone in a total matter state. You're not. You cannot be. Otherwise, you won't be free to move. Free dimension, the softness of the skin, the flexibility of the muscle of the man confirms that the man is not in a matter state. But in the condition of the earth, we have put frame in it and we're hanging the energy states to it as a bone structure. Would we, shall we, would the knowledge of the man reaches the point that you can transfer and transmute specific fields within the cell of the man to become part of a structure which you want? Can we understand that we have the knowledge, for example, that if you don't have a kidney, but we know the field of strength that it sits within the position where the kidney has to be because of the structure of everything has to be rejected, which is liquid, we can create the kidney in its place. Would it come in a coming time that we'll have people with 4 kidneys, 2 obsolete, does not work, and too freshly made within the structure of the body. Yes, it can be done. And then, if you understand more, when we created it, we can allow the transformation of the old kid to go. Then there is no need for dialysis machine. Then there is no need for heart transplant, because now we understand the knowledge, the totality of the knowledge of the creation in the dimension of physicality and life, transformation of energies to matter states of the gans within the body of the man. Then we ask, what happens to the skins and the things which we make synthetically? You still, to hold it, you create a cell of the soul within it. Otherwise, it cannot exist. But still, in that strength, then you put it on the body of the man, then it matches itself to the soul of the man. Otherwise, if it doesn't match in the dimension of the soul of the cell, the body will reject it. Its magnetic field strength and not anything else. When we keep transparent of the kidney or heart or whatever, why does the body reject? Because it's that rejection of the fields of it. And what do the doctors do? They give you tablets to create that field that matches, that those two can interact and keep that carbon connection, interaction, and communication. Would in the future be need such as these kind of operations and tablets? No, because man now understands the interaction of the fields, the transmutation and transportation of the fields, and how to create a condition of acceptance in field strength, both in gravitational and magnetical field, for the new and the old, that they can communicate. We see this in the upcoming time when man becomes to become the traveler of space. We will accommodate our existence to it. At the moment, we wear a monkey suit as a space suit to contain it. But this is only good partially for this solar system. What happens if I take you with a spacesuit in another position in the universe? That amino acid just is energy. You'll have a suit with nothing in it. No life. Maybe a few fields which are slightly different. We might find a kidney, a part of it, or a bit of a bone of somewhere in the suit. What we say, oh, the man has died. No, he hasn't. Because in the process of the freedom, the soul has still taken a new dimension and position, taking the collective of the energies of the existence of the matter state, plasma soul of the physicality of the man. Now, how many of you would like to go through that transition? And would, when I see you on the moon, in the dimension of the life of existence on the moon, shall I know you? Say, oh, this is so and so from planet Earth. Or shall I see the soul of, and I say, I know this soul. This is what I said years ago. And those who understood it, I said, hello, friend, we meet again. After thousands of years. When I greeted the soul of Mitra in manifestation of its existence in the dimension of the man. And then the soul decides which physicality will take its position and place. Because the dimension of physicality is mine in the dimension of physical existence on this planet. But the soul is a traveler of the universe. And when he sees a soul, he knows, he recognizes. Go back in the history of the Keshe Foundation. And it's been put in public. He said, hello, friend. We meet again. After thousands of years. Then that's the time we understood the presence of Mitra on this planet. All we had to do was for her to be happy to accept the soul within the dimension of the soul of physicality and the man. We are passengers of the universe. And we had friends in other dimensions that, like when you go to the city and you say, "Oh, what are you doing in New York? I thought you were still in London. Haven't seen you for years." We travel the same across the boundaries of the universe and universe. The understanding of the totality of the total process of the creation in dimension of physicality, in dimension of what we call the Ganzen state of the soft tissue existence, does not count. The essence of the creation of the soul of the man, which counts in the dimension of the existence. In time, those of you who live this planet as a soul of the man will recognize each other in the dimension of the universe. Even if you become a star and the other one becomes a planet, the other one becomes a seed of meteorite. When you see, understand the strength of the soul, hello, friend. We meet again, as in dimension of the creation, we both came from the essence of the same source. This is what the intro told you, and now you understand. The essence of understanding that the creation of the physicality is a time, place, and a position in the physical dimension strength of the manifestation of physicality. And in essence, has nothing to do with the strength of the soul and the creation of the soul and the emotion of the soul, but in the way the soul is the creator of the dimension of physicality, which shows its emotion in that dimension and the strength. This becomes important for all of us as we become children of the universe to recognize the emotion of the soul, and with it, understand what the soul tells us and not the physical creature in front of us. You look delicious to eat. Where the soul tells you, keep your distance. This body is hungry to take what feels it can steal from the dimension of the universe. And this has been the habit of the man in the universal community. And that's what the correction with the soul of the man had to be done. The habit of killing in the dimension of physicality has to stay now fine and finish on this planet, where we activate the soul of the man that he learns to absorb the other 20% from his environment and not from another collection of fields of plasmas, what we call life. Maybe if you understand this, maybe now you understand the first thing we gave you as a CO2, what it means, what it entails, what it has, what it does, and go back to all the teachings we always said when you start a system, pay for it. As that soul within the system creates that protein layer on the top, which is the boundary of the fields between the outside and inside for the soul of the man. And if you understood this in totality, then you come to understand one fundamental point. Have you ever up to now treated, processed, and handled the ganses you made where you took the skin off? Now you understand why we keep on telling you to keep the amino acids separate. It's the jacket of soul of the system that when you need it, you can put it back on. And then because it's the separation point, understanding out of the creation of the whole thing and giving and taking, then it's effective and it works. Not the gas in the pocket you're happy to play with because you forgot the process of creation. You have not understood the process of existence. Teaching of today is to open the eye of the knowledge seekers, that you become to understand the process of the creation in true essence of, and not by the magic of the spaceship enhancement unit and everything else that we are trying and you've been tried by you and has been hope and the wish of the human race. What do you think when you see a man standing and watching a UFO? What does he think? Oh, they're more intelligent than us. They've done. What about the cat or the dog which is on the leash next to you watching the same thing? Does that soul feel the same? These are intelligent people. I wish I was a dog in that shit. Understanding the science of the creation is the purpose of the teaching of KFSSI. Not understanding the process of containment, another box for another soul. We teach the freedom of the man in the universe. We teach the freedom of the soul of the man in the universe. We teach the truth about man to understand what is to come when it becomes part of universal community. And then we take steps. Then we can understand what we want. And then we can go to the next level of understanding of the totality. I made man in the image of myself. And surely God does not have 2 arms, 10 fingers, and 2 toes, and God knows everything else that the man sees in the dimension of physicality of himself. Then, if you understood this, you understand the reason for your carbon 12 and your carbon 14. You understand what you call carbon is the line of connection. It doesn't have that word anywhere else except in the brain of the man, because now he could categorize it. And it does not have a dimension of physicality in every aspect. I hope from today's teaching you understand and understood in a deeper way that where and how the new systems are just an intermediary systems for you to understand more, to be able to travel this of the universe easier with no restriction and boundary of what are called the spaceships, the car, the donkey, on the back of on the mule, and the rest of it. It's the freedom of the man to understand the truth about the process of the transmutation and transportation of the fields of the universe. And then manifestation of it in respect to the position, feel the strength of the time and the place. A drop of water moist on the window, the same drop of water moist in the room not to be seen, and the same drop of water in the freezer to become solid ice, to manifest itself again different. The window, the room, and the freezer are different conditions of to feel the strength of the universe for the soul of the man. How would you manifest? How would you be manifested in the dimension of the window, the space of the room, or the freezer feel the strength of the universe? This is what the man has to decide in his travel and the dimension of the travels of the upcoming time, as the knowledge of the man reaches the transportation and transmutation of the fields and not the body of the man. I made man in the image of myself. Have you seen the creator in the UFO? Then what do you expect the soul of the man to travel in? Then you understand the restriction of the knowledge which you have created for yourselves to be able to confirm your existence in the dimension of physicality and the physical life of the life. We go for a break and we come back. And I hope I managed to open your eyes to a better understanding of yourself, better understanding of what to expect in the coming time from your soul and your physicality, and how to treat, how to behave, and how to respect life. That as I don't like my body and soul to be eaten by another structure to become part of, would I become the same and accept what is in the universe freely available for me, that I do not have to go into crime? Okay. Thank you very much, Rick. If you want to go through Rick and come back, today's the Keshe Foundation sales team has put in the new packages for what we call the Easter time. And we'll see, as they say, let's see what the bunny brings for our knowledge seekers. Thank you very much, Rick. If you'd like to take us into break.
Okay, so you want to do the Krasmir's thing now during this break? Is that the idea? Okay.
Yeah. If he's around, he's there to share.
Yeah, I've given them permission to speak there. I'm trying to promote him to panelist, and it's not going through yet. Oh, there, I think maybe it went through now. Yeah, there we go. Hello, Krasmir. I see your microphone open, but I couldn't hear you.
He's still there, but his microphone is closed.
Just trying again. I see your microphone's open, Krasmir. We don't hear your voice yet. Might have to check your settings in Zoom. He's coming through as the second Krasmir here. Let's see if that solves it.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry about that. Had to switch to the phone. Rick, I'm gonna ask you to share the Keshe Foundation store because I'm through the phone and it's hard to get it.
Okay.
So welcome everyone. Hello from the Keshe Foundation sales team. Today, very quickly, I want to present the promotion, the Easter bunnies that we call them, that we've created for the upcoming Easter and the overall change in the springtime that is coming, the overall change in everything. So we've created these Easter bunnies, we call them, different packages that are going to be available from today in the store. From our Christmas promotion, we saw that bundles are a very good way to combine different projects and different products and show and showcase different opportunities for everyone to use the products. Everything is going to be updated as well. This is the Easter Bunny promotions. The main thing about the Easter Bunny promotion is that it provides you with around 20% discount on the bundles, on each product in the bundles. So they're really, really interesting. Overall, we have the Curious Bunny, that's how we call it. This is a set of the CO2 nano-coated, the CO2 set with which you can create your own CO2. It is in combination with the GANS reactor, the 3 centimeters, and the 4 centimeters GANS reactor. This way, with the CO2 set, everyone that wants to get in touch with the technology can create their own CO2 GANS together with smaller quantities of zinc GANS. and use them in the GANS reactors that are provided in the Curious Bunny package. These GANS reactors are the spherical balls from 3 centimeters and 4 centimeters in diameter. You can use them to rotate them if you want to create dynamic reactors and field interaction, and you can also use them static. That is why we provide with the different quantities, with the different diameters of the reactors, because we want to, for the knowledge seekers, to be able to achieve field interaction and field gradient in the difference in the quantities of the GANs that you can place in the reactors. The next package, the next bundle is the Spa Bunny. That's how we call it. It's a combination of the GANS mask, the small width GANS mask, with the K Plasma Care soap bars, the 5 pieces soap bars. This is we created all these bundles in line with the change in the atmosphere, in the change in the conditions in the coming spring. We know that our bodies are adapting to these new conditions, so that we wanted this adaptation and this transformation to the new conditions to be very smooth, and that is why we've created all those sets. So the Spa Bunny is specifically for the face, is mostly for women that they use it for clear skin, for betterment in the mood, because the mask works with the face, with the skin of the face. It also penetrates within the brain and gets in touch with the soul. And when you use it with soap bars, you can cover all your body with GANs and with these beautiful plasma fields. The next bundle is Head to Toe Bunny. It is the Kesh GANS Migraine Ice Cap that is put on the head, and GANS gel slippers that are put on the feet. With this, we create very large field, plasma field that covers your whole body from the head to the toe, and it creates a field interaction. Keep in mind that the migraine ice cap is not only for migraine and head issues, but it's also for overall well-being and increased improvement in mood, reduction in stress, reduction in pain. And in the combination with the gel slippers, it creates this field interaction from the head to the toe, so that your whole body gets covered in plasma fields and it gets rejuvenated really fast. This is very good package if you are on a heavy duty work, or if you work on a very stressful job. When you come back home after a really stressful day, you can just put the ice cap and the gel slippers, stay for a couple of minutes session, and just feel the complete difference, release of all the tension in the body, and improvement in the overall mood, health, just bringing your body back to balance. The next bundle that we created is the Gardening Bunny. We know that this is the time where many people are starting to plant new seeds, plants, and want to grow, to prepare for the summer. That is why we've created this Gardening Bunny, with providing you with a plant feeder pot in which you can have your plants in this pot. And in combination with the GANS Enhancement Plant Care, the fertilizer in particular, you can give all the nutrition needed to the plant. Basically, it creates a specific condition, specific environment for the plant within the pot, or separately if you use the fertilizer, a condition in which the plant and the seed can interact with the environment to get all the necessary fields for its perfect growth. You can expect some really miraculous results in the growth of any plant. That is why we've created this Gardening Bunny for the people that want to grow their gardens, to start something new, to plant a seed, to grow their gardens with flowers. This is a very good time, the springtime, for that, and that's why we've created this this bundle. The Energy Bunny is the next one, which is the Magraph's Energizer and Alkalizer. This is specifically for the water. We know that water is vital for every function in our body, and it's not only vital for every function, it's a lot more than that. That is why we've provided you with the Energizer and Alkalizer, which allows for an increased pH of the water, which allows you to absorb more oxygen and increase your overall well-being. It's a combination with GANS Reserve for water dispenser, which is the dry CH3 GANS. We've specifically included the CH3 because we know that there is like the spring fatigue in changing the seasons. That is why with the CH3, we want also to give a little bit of a boost of energy of the body so that it can overcome this fatigue and get in really good shape for the spring and for the summer. The Protection Bunny is the next Easter bundle, which is the Kesh Plasma Fields Absorption Butterfly with the GANS Paint Enhancement. This basically allows for every space that you are in to be protected from any hazardous fields and any hazardous entities that can interact with our body, that can interact with the amino acid of our body. This is a perfect combination, the Field Absorption Butterfly, together with the Paint Enhancement. You can, every room, every space that you position the butterfly and you paint the walls, you create a field interaction, you create a plasma space within this room so that your family, yourself, can be protected from any hazardous field that might be coming from electromagnetic field, from computers, from laptops, from TV, any electronics, and also protect you from high energy packs that interact with our bodies. The Fashion Bunny short is the next bundle, which is part of our clothing line. This is the t-shirt with the short sleeves and the short pants. It's again for everyday use, embedded with the space technology, embedded with materials that allow you for your body to come back to its natural position, come back to balance. The embedded materials in the t-shirt and the pants allow again for the creation of a plasma field interaction that interacts with your body and allows for a balancing of the fields. Everything that's not needed is going away, and everything that is needed is coming from the environment thanks to the interaction of the materials that are embedded in the t-shirt and the pants. And the Fashion Bunny long is the same combination of t-shirt and pants, only with long sleeves. You can basically choose from the options, the product variants. You can choose the different bunnies. Rick, if you can click exactly at the bottom. Yes, thank you. You can see the different bunnies. This is the already discounted price. Once again, it's an amazing 20% discount on each of the products. And for the Fashion Bunnies, you can choose the sizes from extra small to triple extra large. So everyone can get a hold of the fashion clothing line for this package, regardless of size. And overall, this is the promotion that we're starting today. It's going to be available from today until Easter. It's going to get updated with detailed information about every bundle, about how you can use it, about all the benefits that you can get with additional photos. For today, we just wanted to let you know that it is already available. The information is going to come, but the most important is that you can get any of these bundles for yourself, for your family, prepare for spring, celebrate Easter, and enjoy this 20% discount, which is quite substantial. And I'm really happy that we managed to create these Easter bunnies and have enough time for everyone to consider, to get a present, and just get the bunnies, get these packages to prepare themselves for the new season. The shipping also is a flat rate of 19.99, almost 20 euro per bundle, which is also great because regardless of where you are located, you are going to be able to get any of those packages for only 20 euro for the shipping. And we know that there is up to 90 days of shipping. However, lately we see that the shipping rate is substantially lowered. So it's almost in a week, 2 weeks time, you receive the bunnies. So if you order these weeks, you definitely have to get it before Easter and be able to celebrate with the new amazing products of Keshe Foundation. That's it from me. Thank you very much for that. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Okay, thank you, Krasimir. Sounds like you must have had fun coming up with these bundles.
Yes, we did.
Okay, we'll have to promote that on the usual channels as well. Okay, Mr. Keshe, are you ready to begin, or shall we have more of an intermission here?
You decide. We, in about half an hour, 45 minutes, I need about 5-10 minutes break because we have to go through a PCR test that we can travel. So when I ask you if you can give a break, then you can play those Salvador Paint, what do you call it, 10 or 15 minutes break at that point that we can go, I can do the PCR test that I can travel.
Okay, well, perhaps we'll just get into the next half here right away and take your break when you let me know when the time is right.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, once again, at these times, I remind the attendees to you can raise your virtual hand and we can acknowledge you to allow you to talk on your microphone. We have questions in the YouTube and in the Q&A here. I'll refer to the YouTube first from Peng Peter. It's an extended question to the teaching of the 364th Knowledge Seekers Workshop about the purpose.
That's about 10 years ago.
You remember that, of course.
I wonder if I remember what I had for breakfast.
Well, it was about the purpose of life. So his question is, if the Creator's love is universal and unconditional to all, does that mean we, the created, are still immature if we display a sign of biased love as we strive to become Him and part of Him?
Yes. Don't need to ask. You should have got to that conclusion yourself. It's very much what we see and seen many times, repetition of it. When a mother sits at the table, ignores one child, and the other one is adored to bits. You think that child doesn't feel why I don't get it? What have I done wrong that I'm not entitled to it? We see that with many parents. The minute they have a second child, this first one becomes ignored. The first one is not there because all the attention goes. And what do we create? A condition, that soul in that child, the first child. looking, seeking for attention that I exist, seeking for the love that I am part of the existence. And what do the child do? Pays more attention to the second child, that by paying attention while the mother is there, she might see me too. And then what do we create in the second child? Me and me and me and possessive. Psychology of the family is the best illustration of the life of the man in the cycle of existence. We see that with 99% of families. They put the picture of the second child on the phone and the first child doesn't exist. How come the father every time opens the phone sees her, not me, I don't exist? Then looking and seeking for that confirmation of existence allows the abuse, because when I'm needed to receive it, I allow anybody to show me love. That it confirms I exist. We do this all the time. It's the process that the man has not understood. Next time when you see a friend or a family member with a picture of one child on their mobile, and ask them where is the second one, and explain to them, if they understand it, they become aware of their own shortcoming. You have to acknowledge the existence of all created things in equal measure. And the best example is within our families, even if you've been there. And then what do we create? We create monsters in the second children. It creates hyperactivity, it creates the seed for a lifetime of use of the second child of the whole family. Because we have not understood the process of creation. Then should be aware of it, and how do we react to it? What are we responsible for? This is what, as a human race, we are responsible to understand. This is the position of the same. Do we love another nation, another race, and not the other? Or can we collectively love and respect all? And you've seen it in the structure of the Keshe Foundation. When we open the phone, we don't say only the Americans or the Iranians. Whoever comes by gets a chance to share knowledge, to be part of, because we are all one. And this has to reflect in the operation of the life. And to become wise to it takes a lot of effort. Any other questions?
Okay, we've got a couple of hands up, Salamia and then Mark.
Thank you, Rick. Hello, Mr. Keshe. Hello, everybody. My question is related to what Mr. Keshe said, that solidarity is needed, but is the Keshe Foundation ready to create solidarity and peace with the 5+1 talking, or it's ready to do it? Thank you very much.
I don't understand.
Yes.
To make peace with 5+1. We made peace with 5+1 a long time ago. As I don't know if I mentioned it, I was in the teaching of the American teaching on Sunday. If I mentioned, there was another what they call conversation. We brought the peace process a lot ahead, and more or less we expect it to be concluded this week, because this is whole plan of the 5+1 to come out this week before next Monday. Agreements has to be reached Otherwise, Iranian governments and officials cannot deliver the peace message to the Iranian nation, as it's next week has time to digest it. But if you listen in an accidental sudden appearance out of nowhere, the head of IAEA, Dr. Grossi in Tehran last Saturday, and what he said, that we do not accept what the Israelis have put out and terrorized Iran for, being in possession of nuclear weapon. It's the first time the head of IAEA directly referred to misleading information, misleading lies, which was created by the ex-prime minister of Israel to create Iran a terrorist state, a nuclear state, and after bombs. And they created pictures of it. And on the 15th of December of last year, Keshe Foundation at 11 o'clock transferred a full 60-odd page document to Dr. Grossi, which, as I said before, shared automatically with the United States government and the state of Israel, that it brought to show how much Israel has lied about Iran as a nuclear weapon state. And Americans have to keep their face. They've been fooled by a criminal man. And in that process, Grossi, going to Tehran last weekend, has confirmed Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon technology. And we have seen the process of peace speeding up, literally bulldozing through. And one-day visit to Tehran was to confirm that from now on, we expose the liars, the cheaters. And Keshe Foundation played this game. His role into bringing the truth and bringing forward the peace process by a huge measure. I'm meeting with the Iranian ambassador in next few hours. And part of our meeting is how we use this dossier, this document, to clean the position of Iran, and how Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran will take position in respect to this document. In a way, what was given to Grossi, or head of the IAEA, which was shared secretly with 5+1, one member only, to keep the shame away from how they've been fooled by the Israelis, now will be known by all the members of the 5+1. Because we waited, we knew Grossi will react this way. We took our time. They had to find a way, what I call saving face. And we saw before 15th, there was claims that this round of negotiation will fail because of Iran position and the rest of it that are moving. And after 17th, everything changed, took place. And this is the work of the Keshe Foundation. We released the email to Dr. Grossi. That is not just talk. We always keep record of everything. And as I said, past week, we have established the same position. If the present situation in Ukraine leads to the leakage of material, Keshe Foundation in its factories in China and in Austria, we have enough material to contain any nuclear leakage the way we supported the Fukushima. Therefore, we have the knowledge, we are part of it, and our message is peaceful. And we've seen since December, Israel doesn't talk about any more nuclear weapons. And you will see huge cancellation of the weapon technology orders by Arab states. Because This dossier has been printed in 20 copies. So 20 heads of states will receive the copy. And it's the nightmare for the state of Israel that Iran has been correct. We are not after weapon technology. We are after a development of the technology which is peaceful for our nation. And as I said, for the first time ever, if you go and understand what I said to you in past years, when I negotiated, when I entered the arena, in the background and the beginning of the 5+1 was one objective for me. The state of Iran, the nation of Iran, will not lose its technology. Become a nuclear industry nation, becomes to be able to export his technology and fuel out of Iran because we found a better, cheaper way to do it. And at the same time, we are allowed in a nearby future to sell nuclear technology, not just fuel. And everybody thought this was a joke. And this is just guesses. But the foreign secretary of Russia this week confirmed what we said for years. Russia now is using the leverage of receiving nuclear material from Iran for the first time in the 5+ negotiation. What it means, Iran is still enriching uranium in a vast amount, but through 5+1, it can only sell it to Russia. And Russia, in exchange, gives yellow coke to Iran that we're using on the next cycle of the process. But what actually this communication from the 5+1 comes out of, and the Americans cannot do much, they have to lean towards Russia, is because if Russia refuses to buy Iran export of the nuclear fuel, which is now Iran producing as an exporter of the fuel, we are not exporting machinery yet, we are exporting fuel to Russia and we get paid for it. Russia, on the sanctions of the Ukraine, will stop, as is now, cannot trade with no nation, will stop buying nuclear fuel from Iran. And is America prepared to buy it? Any of the 5+1 are there to buy the fuel which Russia is buying from Iran? Then it has put pressure on the Americans to back off in the Ukraine situation because Biden needs the 5+1 to create jobs at this moment in the United States and a lot of other promises, plus using the Keshe Foundation technology in the upcoming technologies of the United States. Now you see how much we are correct, how much we are involved, and how much we are going to. We made Iran, for the first time confirmed by Russia, an export fueling nation which sells it. Because Russia says, if we cannot pay and buy anything, we are not buying and paying for Iranian fuel, which is part of the negotiation. When we negotiated with 5+1 with Biden and Obama, we made sure the nation of Iran stayed solid as a leading scientific organization in the process of nuclear technology because it's the backbone of the space technology. I explained everything to you that you understand, and I've done this for years. Now, when we said, we kept, and in a way, when Trump was pulling his hair, this is the worst ever deal America has ever done in a 5+1, he was right. It's a one-sided track, one-sided benefit for the nation of Iran scientists. Now, you know we sell, we were not, nobody was supposed to know. When you know that to sell, we need to develop the technologies to get better. You know that in developing, we'll become the exporters of the new technology. We just don't sell the fuel, we want to export. 30 nuclear reactors are coming operational in the next 15 years, and another 100 by the middle of the century. Western world gradually, what we agreed, makes Iran the producer of the nuclear fuel in certain categories for the world. I got out of the giving the keys to the Americans in 2012, the freedom of Iran as a nation, as a nuclear technology. And I backed it all the way through. Even 15th of December, we opened the lying, cheating nation of government, not the nation, the government of Israel, that now Iran is on a nuclear, and we had a confirmation from the head of IEA that with all the deceiving bomb, whatever destruction they've done in Iran by the state of Israel. So, yes, we are part of it. We've been part of it. Exchange of the knowledge for peace. When I put my hand out in Brussels to the Iranian, to the American officials, is the sign of it. Just 1 second, please. Sorry about this. I have to go through a PCR test. As I explained, we try to be as best as possible. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sorry about that. So we come to the position that yes, we are part of the structure. We become, and the Keshe Foundation will stay this to see this through, because once the 5+1 negotiation, the 9th round or 8th completed, we have to negotiate in how to transfer the new technology to an international operation regarding to the space travel. We'll be traveling, we'll be shipping nuclear material with high speed across one nation to another. All this has to be negotiated. It's in the pipeline to be negotiated. At the moment, we see the rigmarole with shipping nuclear material. How do we ship through this new space technology the new nuclear materials? This is all part of what is still to come. 5+1 will become the nuclear club in the world. And this is what was the outset from the beginning. And Iran has become part of that nuclear club. And for the first time, the Russian foreign minister has confirmed it that if you're getting a sanction, we cannot buy, so we can't buy the nuclear material from Iran. Now we see Iran is selling nuclear, what we call purified material, but on the agreement to the exclusivity of Russia. But soon it'll expand, because the 5+1 as a nation's nuclear cannot meet the demand of the upcoming nuclear reactors and proliferation. Soon it will become proliferators in preparing the what we call nuclear fuels. We did a very good job with our negotiations, bringing Iran straight away into one of the leading nuclear nations. And some people abuse it, but now we opened the hand of the state of Israel, and we've seen how beautiful the confirmation came this Saturday that IEA does not believe Israel and all their acts in killing of the Iranian scientists. Iran was never after nuclear weapon because we have a much bigger target, which is the space technology. We enriched to 100% in the past condition. Yes, you have the knowledge. The knowledge belongs to the Keshe Foundation. Keshe Foundation is an Iranian organization and part of the human race. But with it, we'll change the position of the condition. Would you like to go for about 5 minutes break till I do the test? I'll come back, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kesh.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, I had a 16-minute video ready, so I think I better select something a little less lengthy. We've got a new tomorrow at 7 minutes. I think I'll play that for our intermission time here. Our second intermission, you could say. Okay, this is an excerpt. What is it from? The North America Corona team group meeting from 24th of October 2021. Okay, we'll listen to that now.
In the world of creation, we had the two extremes, except in the case of the Creator and Mitra, where we could never bring the functionality of the soul within the functionality of physicality. We had the physicality hidden within the soul, or soul within the physicality, or in conjunction of the two, one would never had the understanding of the totality, where we could transit but exist in both directions. With the new cycle, this is what Einstein said: when you turn one atom, the other atom changes. This new dimension will blow that field which commonly exists between all the cells of the universe into that position, which means all the created things, as a gift from the Creator in a way, become able to transmute between the two dimensions. There's a reason for this, and it's taken a long time for it to be done, and it has reached its pinnacle, and it will be completed. It's already in the process of being completed. Was to take from the essence of the soul of every created things of the time, beginning of time, an essence of the creation of the soul or the center, and create a new creature which carries all the essence of the created in the new soul, which can with it go from the soul of the Creator to the soul of physicality of Mitra. This is what the whole knowledge is. The Creator is the universe, and Mitra the dimension of physicality and its behavior towards the dimension of physicality. And with a new system, Every creature in the universe will have the understanding of the capability to transmute between the two. This has a lot of implication for all races in the universe, because now they all become the same. In the coming time, we will see even change in the position of galaxies, position of universes. Many systems will move due to the changes which has been brought. Man doesn't have that knowledge as such to monitor, but we'll have the knowledge to see, we'll have the time to see that with the new fields, as we call it, a lot of things will move in the right position to keep that ability to change between the two. That you don't need to kill to keep the physicality going, you don't need to steal, and the soul does not need to be engaged or to escape, to be out on its own, to be able to confirm its existence. And this this process will complete very soon. That the whole of universal community will be able to have the benefit of the two, both in the dimension of energy or matter, which never existed. When we released the soul, we had to get rid of the physicality. You call it death. When we brought the soul, you had to give it the physicality, and you go through the dimension of the birth, and then you have the whole commotion of bringing the two. With a new system, both soul and the soul of physicality work together in the existence of dimension. We expect a massive change in the physical characteristics of human race in the coming century, because we change into the emotion of the physicality. The way, as I said many times, but many never understood, Indians and Pakistanis were the same, till one chose to take different kind of energy in the other one, and we see change of the feature. Now, with the balance between the soul of the man and the soul of physicality of man, many of us will change feature, without a shadow of a doubt. Man will change the faces of anger, man will change the faces of hate, man will change the face of warmongering, because we get satisfied in the fields of it. And this is part of what will be and what has already started, and the completion of will be the birth of Mitra. Physical completion of birth of Mitra in a physical dimension, not in myths. And then we have the soul of the Creator, which the two will complete the cycle. And then, as I said very recently to one of the knowledge seekers, then we'll see if Adam will eat from the apple of love and giving it. And then we'll see how humanity will change. And the whole creation will change. We are at the verge of that change. Much, much closer than anybody could think of, not only a human race.
Thank you very much, Rick.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Gish.
No, is there any other question?
We have Mark next. Mark
Good morning, Mr. Kesh. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Rick. This is Mark from Germany again. Mr. Kesh, I have a question regarding subconscious. Does the subconscious include the soul of the physicality and the soul of man, or parts of it?
We, as a human race, decided to call it subconscious.
Yes,
But in fact, is a connection between both dimensions, the soul of the man, soul of physicality. And what they see to be, we have subconsciousness in the level of the soul of physicality, and we have subconsciousness about the soul of the man. The subconsciousness of soul of the man, we denied it because we never knew where the soul is and the rest of it. Now we know we have the same words can be used, but in a way, we don't have a subconscious of the soul because the soul is aware of everything. It's us who doesn't understand it, so we call it submissive condition or subconscious of it in the physical dimension. So it is in a way the communication of the soul of the man with the soul of physicality in the dimension of the emotion and transfer of knowledge of the existence.
yes.
When it comes to the soul of physicality, we say, oh, I'm not going there because subconsciously I wasn't aware of what it is, or I was aware of it. But that subconsciousness is, the way we say the soul of the man is connected with the soul of the others or the whatever. Our soul of physicality is connected to the soul of the cells of the body of man, what created the man.
Yes.
And this is what we have to understand. We become aware of, but in a way, the soul of the man brings the information, passes it on to the soul of physicality, or what we call consciousness of the awareness of the man. And then we call it subconscious. Subconsciously, I do this. Part of it, if it's physical, we twitch or whatever, but subconsciously, we become aware of knowledges or something in which emotions we are not aware of. One is to do with the soul of physicality, one is to do with the soul of the man, which we translate that to knowledge of consciousness or awareness.
Thank you. That's what I've thought of how that works. To reach your higher self, the soul of the man, and be aware of it. Is that something we can do with the vessel we have now, or do we need to wait till our vessel has changed?
This is part of the teaching of the present time, for you to become aware of it and be control of it. Up to now, we were not aware of it. It's within us, and we're in control of it. We allowed the religions to come in, and then we allowed the views of those who use the religion to abuse our emotions, our lives.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So now you're aware of it. You can actually, we had one of our friends last week saying, I'll put 2 rings around my finger, and if it goes, it's another step towards understanding that there is something inside me knows more than me outside in the dimension of the soul.
Yes.
That's all it is. So now we become aware of it. And we can do it, and the whole teaching is in that process. You do not have to die to free the bird. The bird is free when you choose it,
Yes.
but understand its limitation to what it can do and what it can bring. Why can't we bring the soul of us? I explained this to a child of mine sometimes. In a way, it's the easiest way to understand it.
Mm-hmm.
We decide to go and hunt, to kill a bird, an animal, to eat, because we're hungry. And we make that conscious decision to do that job. We go consciously to a supermarket to buy a chicken. So we are aware of our physical need, and chicken will give us certain energies which we need. Why don't we do the same with our soul? That Why don't we train ourselves to allow our souls to expand beyond dimension of physicality, that it can tap into the energies of the universe, that I don't need to kill that bird? And this is what we're becoming more and more of. On the other hand, if you become inner conscious of and you can bring it, you don't need to extend the soul of the man beyond the boundary of the physicality to get the fields. You go in and replicate the fields you want with the strength of your soul that you absorb, that you not need to kill a chicken to get the energy you need from the chicken. As I said in a very recent past, and you will see that's one of the products of the Keshe Foundation in the upcoming time, Keshe Foundation will sell little, very much like marble. Mm-hmm. That when you put this marble in your mouth, you can absorb all the energies, all what you need as a food that you will not kill.
That's very interesting.
In the next few hours, this is one of the reasons we traveled where we are. In the next few hours, Keshe Foundation will sign an agreement, and Keshe Foundation become one of the largest scientific organizations in the parallel system of the new knowledge and the old knowledge. In a way, nanotechnology, plasma technology will come and emerge out of Iran in a way that is not imaginable. One of the biggest scientific organizations is born today that will bring the new science of the plasma technology, which becomes food, construction, life, energy, together up, and we establish the biggest scientific organization from the nation of Iran. But the condition is, part of the agreement is, the knowledge is open to all other nations on this planet. We just crossed the T's and the I's and dots on the I's this morning, and this afternoon will be signed. And we create a structure which should be unique, and it'll be collective, collaborative structure with the scientists from some 40, 50 nations which already work in this way. In a way, we establish the Keshe Foundation as an international space organization headquartered in Tehran. The foundation has spent a lot of time and effort and everything else to make sure this process completes. And today, we will celebrate that day, that the signatures will go on the paper, and you will see the birth of the first international space, plasma space technology to be born. And the whole purpose of it is this, that we start and you will see new, innovative products from the Keshe Foundation in the coming days, things which will change our process. This is an interim development that the next step will come in. We will explain to you very shortly. By next week, you might see some of the products. This is the structure, the knowledge, that what we call we let the knowledge to go free, and the freedom of that knowledge has come back to Keshe Foundation. And people of the same mind have come back, and we have established it will be rapidly growing to one of the biggest space organizations under the banner of the Keshe Foundation. That we don't need to kill anymore. We understand the process of the creation of it. We respect each other because of our soul, not because of the power or the money. Because we all have everything what we want, we can create.
Mm-hmm. Does, if I am aware of my soul, aware of my true self, does it show itself by itself, or how can you stimulate this process of awareness of your deeper self?
You can do it internally, and you can show it externally. Depends what I call if you're introvert or extrovert. But you go within the soul, but then you want to show the beauty of what your soul has achieved.
Yes.
You can do it. You don't need to be, it's not a dress to wear or a car because it's the latest model I have. You see, I can extend my soul out and look at me. Yeah. But it's the freedom of it, that the one who wants to see your soul has the freedom to see, to recognize the beauty of it. This goes back to, if you've been a knowledge seeker for a long time enough, I said the members of the Universal Council never need to introduce themselves, as they'll be recognized by what I call the shining soul they carry, there to serve. And we see that. People, we won't see Universal Council members with the bright light walking everywhere. Oh, there's a guru. No, we see the beauty of it because we sense the beauty of the soul within. And this is part of what is to come. We move away from the dimension of physicality, but with the knowledge, not something just to follow. With the knowledge that we are in charge of it. We control it and we can extend it to what we want. And then when you want to go back in reaching the Creator, then you have to think the reverse of whatever you've done. Up to now, you raise your hands and say, I hand my race to God, to the Creator. Now we know the soul of the man is within the man, and this house of the Creator is within the soul of the man. We go within. And this is the beauty of understanding the new technology, the new essence of creation.
Yes.
We don't need to raise hands, God to help us. We go within to find the truth and the way we have to live.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Kesh, for that wisdom. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Any other question?
Okay, we have a question from Alexandra of Brazil. 3 questions, actually. First question, to reach the Creator, we need to become only energy?
You?
Okay, second question, will we one
just
day...
ask yourself, do you see it that way, or you still are entangled in the dimension of physicality? Carry on.
Second one is, will we one day cease to be and to manifest ourselves in physicality?
If you decide to, yes. This is the whole purpose of the teaching. You decide when to manifest. You decide how to manifest. You decide if you want to be the creature of the planet Moon, Jupiter, planet Zeus, or another dimension in no planetary system but in the fields of the universe. Then you become a star in that universe. Because there is nothing for you to be attached to. You are there. You become the star. You are the center of the field. When you have a dynamic plasma, you're bound to attract fields to you. When you're a ray, you just pass through. When you bring your soul to be in a position in the universe, then you become the star. Then you become the source. Because you absorb other fields, and with it, what you receive, you expand. Then you can shine, then you share. And this is what we call the earth is the nursery of the souls, where the soul of the man frees from the shackles of the physicality. Then he has to find a space for itself, for its position, as you put a magnet in the table of magnets. And in that point, because it's in the plasma, it's in the dynamic position, it becomes the essence of the creation of new life, new plasma. Then will it shine? Did you absorb enough light, enough fields? Did you absorb enough from universal fields of the existence of the physical dimension, did you give enough, that you received enough, that you become a star in that position? Or would you become what I call just the dust and the fields which cannot even absorb the lowest of the dust? Don't forget, in the term of the plasma technology, the lowest is not to get inside, it's the further you are from the source, because you give so much to go further. So you're further from the point of the creation and the creator. Any other question?
Third question is, will planet Earth stop being physical? Excuse me. Will planet Earth stop being physical someday? Will it become an existing planet with its beauties being only energy?
We are already that, but in a dimension of matter state. But sooner or later, we'll go back to the mother. The gravitational pull of the sun will take us in. And then there is no mountains, there are no rivers. We all become part of the plasma of the sun. I explained this to a cosmologist a long time ago. We see meteorites, we see asteroids. We see them coming to planet Earth. And they burn into the skies or they get rejected. But how much our scientists have observed how much of these meteorites, or whatever you call them, go back to the sun? Many of the meteorites we get hit by, they're on the journey to the mother. And we are no exception. We're just bigger piece. We have some plasma. As time goes, we give more and more. We gradually get pulled in and become part of, and become another plasma. If your body is buried on this planet the day before the sun absorbs us in, or you died thousands of years ago and it's just bones, would it make any difference when you become a mixture of the plasma within another structure of the mother? Then you radiate back out, and then you become part of it. When in fact we see we are always a field in change. We are always a mirage, what we call the existence of life. Any other question?
We have a question in YouTube from Ram. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Can you reassure us about the risk of atomic war?
What do you want me to show you? You'll get a nuclear bomb? I don't know. It depends what crazy leaders we choose to be there. But what we see at the present time, especially, we have to see what we learned from Corona. 2 years. They frighten us, they inject us, and as we saw the state of Austria yesterday, threw everything out. We become free. We don't need to have injections. We don't need to have anything else. Maybe a PCR test for a few days and then it'll go away. Because we went through the cycle. They brought that for us. But it brought a lot of attention to the knowledge of the man, what the viruses are. And as Keshe Foundation, in a very short while, as we are doing, and other institutes like us, we'll explain the virus. And then we add it to our knowledge because we've seen it, what it does, how they can abuse us next time. We will not be afraid of viruses. It became like Black Plague. But this time, Black Plague was created deliberately for slaving our nations. We paid heavily for the past 2 years. Our great-grandchildren will pay for the monies borrowed to pay and the other things from that. We got food once. Now we've seen the wars, and we see none of the superpowers are objecting to anything in respect to or threatening of the reality of a nuclear war. Because the arena is not Middle East, it's not Arabs. The arena is not China. The arena is not Australia and Africa. We can do it the way we kill them, we promote it. Now the arena is Europe. You drop a nuclear bomb anywhere in Europe, and the Americans and the Russians play the game. Sorry, Western world does not exist anymore. They are not entering the arena of the nuclear world at this moment of time, because in fact, there'll be nothing left of Europe. So the Europeans bark, but they have no bite. And that's the only thing they can do. Because we saw what happened in the same country in 1986, when Chernobyl went. Today, some 35 years later, there are farms on the mountain of Wales in west of United Kingdom that cannot be farmed because the radioactive material for Chernobyl landed there. So we will not see nuclear war, not in Europe. If it was in Middle East, yes, there's nothing to do with us. But you nuke Europe, you have finished with Western civilization. And I think there is nothing more than this the Chinese would like to see. Let them test it. Then there is no superpower. There only will be one power, which is China. And nobody will risk it. I see a country like Poland, which now said they're prepared to make blah blahs to the Ukrainian army to be used. Watch what would be the response of Russia on Poland. They are considered in Moscow to flatten this embassy of Poland in Moscow and never allow no Polish work contracts to come into Russia. The harshness of it will be much worse because Russia has other powers behind. And then the teasing of the next Western nation, we want to go from MiG to F fighters, has no meaning. Look at the bigger picture of the politics. There won't be no nuclear war. Not in Europe arena. Europe, just after some 70, 80 years, is coming off the pressures of the Second World War. This time it's going to be flattened. It's the Western world which rules, and none of them are prepared to press that. They bark, but as a nuclear physicist, we do the strategy study of the nuclear weapon. Don't worry about it. And it's not in 1950s and 60s that one person can push a button. Collection and collective members have to release sequences that the nuclear bomb can be released. It's the possibility we might have a nuclear leakage, but that is something that we have already confirmed to IAEA. We are ready to support the materials. Has been held in Austria, that we can literally phone to the frontiers immediately. Don't worry about the nuclear war. It's a lot of barking, but there's no bite. And if anybody bites, there'll be no Western Europe. Any other question?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kesh. Let's see here. I had a question from Jan about any news on the ongoing negotiation between Iran and 5+1, but I think you may have already answered that. Perhaps you could add some more details. Also, I think you answered that in the weekend meeting of the Kesh American knowledge team.
It is, as it's going, we saw it, as I explained earlier on. The Russians confirmed they can play their game, and we'll see what comes up. It's a state of art of negotiation, which is who can do and what can be done. And we are in that position at the moment. We expect, and we announced weeks and weeks ago, if the Russians don't throw what we call the French spanner into the work, we expect to see the signing before or around next Monday, Tuesday latest, as Iran is going through the Iranian New Year celebration, 21st of March, which is the following week. And they don't want to do it in the last day that the nation, or they might do it the last 2 days before the New Year, to bring a new, hope for the present structure. But in effect, we knew it from midsummer, and the negotiation will complete around this week, next week. But the only problem is now with the Ukraine situation. If Russians don't accept the Iran's buying this nuclear surplus material produced by Iran, then somebody in between, maybe America, will, let's say, we buy it and stockpile it. That's another option which is considered by the White House. But on the other hand, this gives legitimacy to Iran nuclear weapon technology not being real, and Iran will become part of the nuclear club officially in open, as now we are since last week. Everything was set up by His Eminence Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran to finish by next week. And everything fell out once, but we brought it back in. And everything, how to behave in the 5+1 was rehearsed with the Keshe Foundation Iranian officials months and months before. How we expect, how to be, who to be, and what to be, and who's got to be. And these are all done in writing and verbal communication to the Iranian government and Iranian leadership. And we succeed because we know how to do it. There are a lot of deviations from it, but one way or another, we're on track. Americans will ask for a lot of unnecessary things that got nothing to do with the negotiation 5+1. And they came in with 16 brackets of new demands, which is out of the nuclear negotiations. Some has been met, some will not be met, but it's more or less agreed. Iranian came with the same thing. It wasn't just Americans. But overall, everything's agreed. It should have been signed actually today or tomorrow. Everything was set to complete this week. That is ready for Monday to be announced and to be completed. Iranian head of negotiation, Dr. Bagheri, the youngest son of the Iranian leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, stayed in Vienna. He has not left to make sure he delivers the signature by Monday, Tuesday, because Tuesday is a very important day in Iranian culture. Is the last Tuesday night where by tradition we do a lot of fireworks, and they want that firework to be the firework of freedom and return back to all the sanctions finished and the rest. And then we are on target if the Russians don't mess anything up. Because that is the prelude to the Iranian New Year. And it's been part of our culture. We are Iranian, Zoroastrian, Islamic nation. Our belief in our nation and the culture comes before the religion. Any other question?
Mr. Keshe, I'm wondering how the oil production around the world is tying into this. We see the U.S. has cut off Russia for their sanctioning them for their oil, which has kind of shot themselves in the foot in a way. And now they don't have enough oil to cover their production needs in the U.S. And so the U.S. is actually looking toward Venezuela and Iran, their chief enemies last year, to be suppliers of the oil that they're missing. And and trying to make ends meet in other ways, and other countries around the world as well, depending on their allegiance to one side or the other. So we see pressure, for example, in the US and Canada to restart the internal production for the what they call the tar sands or oil sands in Canada, and the oil fields in the US. But that takes time, and they don't know if they have enough time. And plus, it's totally against the agenda of the climate change people that are in government in both those countries in North America right now. So they're at a bit of odds to decide whether to amp up the oil production against their climate change goals, or to they're sort of forced to look at alternate energy supplies right now. And it seems like a perfect opportunity for the Kesh Plasma technology. Now, is it possible, you mentioned, this ties in, to me, it ties in with the nuclear thing, because is it possible that you said that Iran will be selling their nuclear technology to, or nuclear items actually, to Russia? But if Russia gets seriously blocked, that route might be blocked as well somehow, let's say. And if it does, you said that it would tend to build up the nuclear materials in Iran, and that makes everybody kind of nervous. What if Iran at that point took those nuclear materials and made space products out of the, purified uranium or whatever it takes to make a safe reactor? I know you can make a safe reactor, both a hydrogen type reactor or a uranium reactor, and you know how to do it for space technology and for making power and so on. So is it possible that it's time for that transition now to allow Iran to become the world leader in this new technology, because it has to, get not allowed to go the Russian route, and they'll have to divide up all that radioactivity and spread it all over the world in small packages called reactors. It's a perfect way to get rid of it all.
But the thing is, this equation of nuclear and oil is what I call, as somebody said, since Ukraine came into operation, Corona doesn't exist. We don't hear much about Corona in the news. It's become a new Corona. And we have a beautiful Iranian comedy guy who says, when he went to America, he said, "Yeah, Iranian." He says, I was born in UK, but my family is Iranian. So in fact, I am Ukrainian, which is I'm from UK, but Iranian. So it's a new race we all call the old Ukraine. The structure of the oil industry does not support the pattern of the ruling of Biden. Being in the oil industry for a long time, refineries are keyed up for a specific, what we call refining. It's not so easy to change refineries to new oil. If refineries are set for Saudi oil, Saudi sells oil because that's the only thing right, and that's why Japanese can only consume Iranian oil, because the refinery was set for that way. You can boycott oils from Russia, but you cannot buy Iranian oil so easily to replace it. We know this, and believe it or not, I've been in one of these mistakes. At the beginning, when I was young in the oil industry, we never considered there was a need for oil, and we sent oil to a refinery, and the refinery was not keyed up for these kind of oils and created huge damages. So by what we call facts, by experience, by the knowledge, we know we cannot do. So Biden tries to find oil in Venezuela and Iran, But American refineries cost hundreds of millions to convert it, to be able to receive it. Russian oil is a specific mixture. Russia, when was a USSR, when the oil industry was set, brought oil from Siberia, from Kazakhstan, from every others, and put them in one pipe. We sell Russian mixed crude oil. It's very hard to just send Siberian oil down the pipeline. You have to mix it because the refineries are set for this kind of mixture. So if Biden buys oil, if he can find the right mixture between Venezuela and Iran and mix it and put it in American refineries, he might find a solution somewhere temporarily. So he needs Iran, according to the law for the national income, they're allowed to sell 1 million barrels officially in the market, but Iran has been selling officially 3 million barrels in the different names and groups of the Iranian government. So now those 2 million which were sold for other purposes, now we have 2 more million barrels to find per day, pushes the uranium production to 5 million, which creates a lot of wealth. Can it be done? Possibly. But how fast Russia can get the negotiation of 5+1 finish that Iran can become? We have, when the sanctions comes off, there'll be a lot of changes for a lot of Iranians. I'm an example of it. For me to open a bank account in some countries because we are under sanctions as an Iranian is impossible. In 2 weeks' time, when the sanctions comes up, Iranians can open a bank account anywhere. We have this problem with the Keshe Foundation companies. But we solved it. We solved this in a very beautiful way in long distance. But today, we had it this morning, just during the teaching, I received a message in one of the companies, in one of the countries we're trying to set up. The bank has objected, I carry Iranian passport. I said, just wait for a couple of weeks. They'll come and kiss your hand. Can you open a bank account? So we see these things come up. We'll see these things will change. But essentially, this has created a benefit for the oil producing countries back to 140, 160. And some of the oil fields only become profitable at a certain price bracket that is allows it to open up. But once you open it up and then the price down, take a nosedive, was it worth all the expenses you put in? Would you be able to recuperate the money that you opened all the systems? It's not just opening it. You have to think of it, the shutdown of it, and how much it costs to do it. Oil industry is a very complicated industry. It's not so easy, and the governments know. They can talk, public does not, and is not aware of the complications. It's just a good news making, but it can create massive damages. Any other question? We try to finish. We're running into 3 hours.
Okay, thank you for that. There's a question in the Q&A from Danilo in Brazil. It's kind of a long, involved question. Not sure if we want to get into it, the whole thing, or have you read it yet, Mr. Keshe, in the Q&A?
Nope.
Okay. Well, perhaps I can go for it. I don't see any other questions right now. Or we could, there's Antonio has a hand up. So let's allow Antonio to speak, and maybe that'll be all the questions we can get in for today.
Good morning,
Hello,
Mr.
Antonio.
Keshe.
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Keshe, thank you for everything and all you do. Just a question about the CO2 capture building with the byproduct. I know that one of the byproducts are used for agriculture. Can you go into it a little bit more? What else can be the benefits of the CO2 capture buildings?
The space technology. The space technology will be one of the main beneficiaries of this process. In a way, we're just talking about the oil. What kind of carbon you can capture in your CO2 box shows what kind of flight system you can create for your system. Is it a space fuel, or is it for running your power system? It has a lot of usages. It's not just what I thought. With the knowledge we have, we can create a sustaining power system using a CO2. And the power system is not that you create what you call it energy, is you create a condition, as we said earlier on in the teaching of today, that part of the CO2 stays at a matter energy level, and part of the CO2 becomes carbon-14, which taps into universal energy. And then you have to know where to tap into it. Then you have everlasting energy. MAGRAF systems are set up to do this way.
The MAGRAF systems set up to do, sorry, I didn't understand that.
The MAGRAF systems are set to create this condition of energy production using CO2. I gave a very big secret away. Huh? I've seen you communicating and others on this secret communication club of MAGRAF technology people. And it makes me really interested to see how some of you leading knowledge seekers think and work. They made a club, they didn't want me to be in it, but when I found out, they put me in it so I can see how they're thinking. Maybe they made another club somewhere that I don't see, but soon later we'll come to it. Any other question?
Okay, if we can get Kay in here, that would be good.
Hello.
Yes, we hear you.
Rick, good morning. Thank you very much. Good morning, Mr. Cash. As usual, thank you very much for the teaching today. And kudos to you for the achieving of the biggest scientific organization coming together in a few hours. I'm sure it was the biggest task you've ever had. Sorry, I had a question about the soul. As you mentioned today and previous knowledge-seeking sessions, when the planet Earth gets absorbed to the sun, obviously the human race will be left out in a way that we don't have any other planet to exist, so to speak. I'm under impression, most probably, that another planet will be available, so to speak. The condition would be such that we could exist on that planet. But my bigger question is, what if when the sun itself will become part of a bigger absorption, like a black hole, does it mean that human race will be wiped off, say, in a few billion years when the sun becomes mature enough for it to change its dimension? Does it mean that human race will totally die away in its physicality because it is dependent on two amino acid, which belongs to the planet Earth, as well as belongs to the solar system, but mainly to the planet Earth, are we going to be wiped off? Has this happened ever in the world, in the Unicods to other races? Do they get actually wiped off?
I can give you an example in a very simple way.
Yeah.
We have an island, which has happened to us many times, and there are people who live in this island, and suddenly there's a volcanic eruption and nothing left of the island. But we have the citizens of this island who have traveled to the other part of the world and taken a sanctuary in another countries. Would the name and the life of the island, which doesn't exist, is submerged under the oceans, die off? Or its citizens have become the remnants and the sign of that island? The soul of the man has traveled the spans of the universe, and we are those who left the island. It does not matter if the island exists or not. The soul of us, man, at the moment when we leave the physical body, takes a position in the universe. It's not just gone. Part of its energy will go somewhere, but as a dynamic plasma, to find his own position. And then you carry what we call the fingerprint of their life on this planet. That's where it came from. And maybe as it's part of a structure of it, it will create a condition of the creation of amino acid, the same as what it is, or near to it, of this planet. So it doesn't matter. Sooner or later, this little dust will be absorbed in a bigger field dust, and the bigger field dust itself will be absorbed in a bigger field dust. We are just a field in motion. And what do we fight for? Few seconds of manifestation. You're worried if you're gonna go and become part of the solar system or the sun. But in fact, long before that, you have already become part of the universal community by living the physical life. I used to come from Earth. Would you be able to create a DNA, RNA in what you become the star of and become the son of, to create another planet that life can exist on it? Would that carry your DNA, like physical life you create the DNA in your child? That's the dilemma that you don't know yet. Don't worry about if it's going to happen tomorrow in 1 billion years. You already carried. You have left the island.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe. But Mr. Keshe, we need the amino acid, Mr. Cohen, in order for our physicality to say the human shape in physicality that we do. I understand the soul is always
Do you need the amino acid, or do you need the fields of the amino acid? That's a different thing.
I understand.
Or you need a combination of the fields, which manifests itself in the dimension of the amino acid of the man on this planet.
So presumably there would be environment whereby the field of amino acid can actually manifest there, or it can interact so that it can create its presence into the shape.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean you're going to have 2 legs and 2 arms again.
That's what I'm referring to, you see. So I was trying to say, does the race, human race, the way we stand, actually dies away in a few billion years when...
Not really, we just evolve in different field strength. Cowboys, did you hear the American teaching last Sunday?
Yes.
Somebody said Mr. Keshe was in London. Surely Mr. Keshe and Cowboys can tell us if they have, in a way, they have met.
Yes, somebody said that. I kept my mouth shut.
It's an honor to meet you.
Yeah, honor is all mine. pleasure is all mine, Mr. Cash. Every second of it is like a lifetime. Trust me.
Thank you very much.
Believe. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Any other question?
Well, we could go on, but I think you wanted to kind of draw it to a close here, Mr. Kesh, or
Yeah, we're
what do you
running
think?
for about 3 hours and we are travelers today.
Hmm.
And hopefully we share more knowledge in the coming time. And in a way, the world is a better place, even it looks sometimes rough on the edge to what it was 3 or 5 years ago. Man is now going to war. Man has become aware of the abuse of the energy fields of the universe in the form of viruses. And in a way, if you look at it, the credibility of the world leaders with Corona and not with the other parts which are coming up has been dented heavily, where the population and the mankind decides the future of this planet than those who thought they can control the money and they control other bits of food. And we are in that age with the new technology to give that freedom that you can decide and how you decide it and how you bring it. And it's not an easy job. It's not so easy to be in that position. Thank you very much for today. And hopefully we meet each other next week and the week after. Thank you very much, Rick.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Kesh, once again, for another Knowledge Seekers Workshop, this time the 423rd on Thursday, March 10th, 2022. Okay, what other announcements do we have? Oh, I know. We have the testimonials meeting for Kesh Plasma Technology testimonials. And that is coming up on Monday, March 14th. And that starts at the 8 p.m. Central European time. And then on Tuesday, the 15th, we have the One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace workshop. And that starts at 4 p.m. Central European time. I think that's all for now. I'll place a couple of the flight enhancement spaceship unit videos to go out with. And we'll see you all in the next public workshop. Thank you, everybody, for attending and for your questions today. Any remaining questions, please hold them over till next week. Okay, bye for now.